Good evening,
So,
everybody. Wait.
no, you can
Good.
go. You can go.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the last round of this Formula 2 season. We've got 3 drivers with a shout and 9 teams. Who will be the drivers' champion? Will it be Wojtek Kulisec? Will it be Nicholas Zorbach? Or will it be Anto Sinonome? Well, I am your commentator, Kurisu, otherwise known as Rob, and alongside me is Joe, here for the racing action. What's going to happen, I wonder?
I wonder what happens indeed. Well, if qualifying and the sessions that we've had around here are anything to go by, hopefully we should be in for an interesting race. But who knows really what this finale could have in store. And, well, I'm definitely looking forward to it, that is for sure.
Yes, absolutely. It should be a very, very exciting finale. Of course, 9 teams still with a shout of winning the team's championship, all of them except for Hitech and Trident, basically, but for some, it's a little bit of a tall order. And my goodness me, I'm very excited for this finale. Should be a lot of fun, as I actually can't see the screen share due to errors on my end at the minute. So, are we going to talk about the criteria first?
We might as well do that. We'll get that up on the screen before we get underway for the race and look at the grid. So, yeah, we might as well look at the criteria whilst we wait for your thing to load up. So there is the criteria on the screen then. So anyway, if, I guess can you see the graphic that's on on your phone at the moment, Kurisu, or not?
No.
Okay, well I'll have to read it then. So okay, so this is the criteria then for all 3 drivers who are still in the championship. So for Kulizek, he can afford to lose 13 points to Zorbach. If he loses 13 points, he will still be the champion. He can
That
afford to
means he
lose
needs
15.
P4 to guarantee the title.
Yes, indeed. He can lose 15 points to Sinonome unless Sinonome wins, then it has to be 14 points because Sinonome can still beat him on a countback. In terms of
Yep.
Zorbach, then, he needs to beat Kulizec by 14 points today to win the championship, but he can afford to lose 1 point to Hento Sinonome, but nothing more. It has to be only 1 point he can lose to Sinonome due to the gap between them being 2 points. And in terms of Sinonome, he needs to beat Kulizec by 16 points, but it can be 15 if Sinonome wins the race, and he has to beat Zorbach by 2 points because he can beat him on a countback of wins. So that is the criteria heading to Balcarce.
Thankfully, though, for all 3 of these guys, they're all starting near the front of the field, so that race win that nets a lot of points isn't too far out of reach, as we're still waiting for my app to load, so apologies that we would normally read the grid 4x4, but at the moment I cannot. I'm still waiting for the app to load, and if it happens to load while Joe is reading the grid, then I will jump in, but until then, you take us through the grid, Joe.
Okie dokie then, let's have a look at the grid then for the final race of the season. So on pole position, for the second time in his career, we have Jafari Blackwood in the Dams, followed by his teammate Kai Sereznia, who starts on the front row. If it was to stay like that, then Dams would win the team's title. Hento Sinonome will start in 3rd, with Wojtek Kulizec, the championship leader, in 4th. If it was to stay like that, Kulizec would win the championship. Tobias Kress will start in 5th, with the 3rd championship contender, Nicholas Zorbach, starting in 6th. Andrei Sazonov, the future Aston Martin driver, in his final race for Formula 2 will start in 7th, with Joe Pedro Kirby in 8th. Santino Andrioli will start in 9th, with Alexander Arnold rounding out the top 10. Aji Prazan will start in 11th for Hitech, with Alex Broster in 12th. Then we have James Sturt, his teammate, who will start in 13th, with Von Chanat Chalchinat in 14th position. Agatina Bavona starts in 15th in the second Prema. This is, of course, Prema's last race, and they'll be looking to try and go out with the drivers and maybe the team's title, with Adam Chobart in 16th position. Ruslan Proxy will start in 17th, with Samet Oskan in 18th position. Jose Frederic Suto is down in 19th, with Aaron Curtis all the way down in 20th. And on the back row of the grid is Bernardo de Oliveira in the ART and Jake Tilsley in 22nd and last. Let's have a look at the weather then for the race, and it's just going to be cloud cover, but no rain is to be expected as we're about to get underway for the final race of the season. I'm not sure if Kurisu's app has loaded just yet or not, but we'll have to wait and see.
Finally, it's loaded.
Just in time as we get onto the loading screen.
Well, then, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take everybody through the race start. This should be very entertaining. Who's going to win this? For the first time ever, we're gonna go racing at Balcarce. For the... What? I know you call it a figure eight circuit. I call it more of a donut circuit, to be honest with you. A very long and stretchy donut. But here we go.
Yep, indeed, getting set for 44
It's a
laps.
Dam's front row lockout, but the real ones to watch are the championship protagonists. All of them who are further behind these guys. We're waiting for the racing here to start in Argentina. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna take the title? 5 lights are now on. And they are now off. We are racing at Balcarce. It's a good start from Teresnia. He's trying to get a jump over Jafari Blackwood, and I think he's got a good launch. Yes, he has. But down the hill we go. Quite a difficult section downhill. Breaking through the right-hander. And looks like Blackwood holds on to the lead. Kulisec is in third. Or will he stay there? He's under attack from Sinonome behind. This is for the championship. Of course, he's going to need a few more points rather than just beating him by one place. As Resnian is trying to go for the lead. Look at this as we're going onto the bridge. Is he going to pass his teammate around the outside? He just about might pull it off, but he can't pull it off completely. Blackwood stays ahead, so does Kulisec. But Sinonome is all over the back of him.
A great start for Kulis. Actually got the jump there on Sinonome, but Sinonome wants to place back. He can't make it stick as they all make their way around the third hairpin on this racetrack now then, and it looks like everybody has kept it clean on the first lap.
Zorbak isn't too far away from these guys either. He still has a chance.
He does indeed, but if it was to stay like this at the moment, Dams would win the team's championship out of the 9 teams who are still in it, and Kulisec would win the driver's title, but we've still got a long way to go in this race, and the two Dams look like they're going to get a little bit racy here.
Let's say, never mind, I'll hold that thought. Teresnia had a little look into the chicane, but Blackwood was wise to cover it off. What I was going to question was, if Sinonome wins and Kulisec takes 4th, will that be enough for Sinonome to take the title, or will it not?
I'm just having a look here to see. Well, he needs to beat Kulisec by 16 points, but it can be 15 if he does win the race. So he actually, if he wins the race and he doesn't set the fastest lap, let's say, then he does need Kulisec to finish in 5th position.
So Kulisec is safe at the moment. He's ahead of both of his rivals, and he's trying to get in front of yet another car. Teresnia wasn't able to pass Blackwood so far. Looks like the Jamaican is pulling away, as Curtis has made the move on Oskan, but Kulisec is now going for the inside line, running very close to the wall. It's a little bit scary, I'm not going to lie, on this circuit. Zorbak has been overtaken by Sazonov. He's dropping some places. That's not good as Jovchainat makes a move. Brilliant stuff. Past Adam Chobot. He's made it stick quite nicely.
Very good move indeed. Lots of movements going on around the field. It looks like Seresny is now losing touch to Blackwood, who is pulling away now from Seresny. And of course, let's not forget Blackwood has got some, for some of these guys, and we talked about it a lot when we commentate these last races. Not only do we have championships to sort out, we also have drivers who are trying to secure a seat in the top class. And we know the likes of Blackwood are trying to secure a top class seat for next season somewhere.
Yes, indeed.
As now Crest tries to have a look down towards the first corner. We did see in practice it is possible to pass before you get down the hill, but it looks like on this occasion he's going to back out of it on that time by. As Oscar, I noticed on the previous lap, was starting to drop backwards. He's down to 18th place.
Kulisec has good pace at the moment. He's going for the move on Teresnia, but he has to be careful about it. He can't risk to throw away easy points. He needs to make it clean, and he does. He's up in the 2nd place.
Fantastic move for Wojtek Kulisec. He's now up into 2nd place. As meanwhile, Crest gets overtaken by Joe Pedro Kirby there. As meanwhile, Andreoli and Arnold are going side by side down towards the 3rd right-hander, but Arnold keeps in front.
Yep, indeed.
As meanwhile, more moves going to the back. A lock up there for Oscar, that was there as he continues to drop backwards through the field. But it's now been split between the Prema and the Dams. But I can tell you so far, even with Kulisec in front of Seresnia, if it was to stay like this, Dams would still win the team's title.
So they've got something to play for after all with these positionings for Dams.
Indeed so, as they now make their way towards this last chicane then on the racetrack now then. And, well, we could see some action here. We have seen drivers, especially throughout practice for the top guys, trying to go for dive bombs at that part and sometimes not end well. Meanwhile, Zorbak's got a run here on Sazonov heading down towards, well, turn 2 as it's classed. That's or turn 3 here because the kinks around this track are classed as corners. But
I'll just call it turn 1, to be honest.
I think that's going to be a much easier for us, I think, if we're being honest. But anyway, as meanwhile, Cress is now looking to the outside line of Kirby, trying to get him back. And does he have the straight line speed? If he gets the overlap before that part of the track, he might be able to get the move around the outside, because we did see it in practice and qualifying around this track. He's trying to go around the outside, but he can't make it stick.
Didn't work.
And now Arnold's joined into that fight now then for that position. As meanwhile, Crest trying to fake to the left and go to the right, but it won't going to work out there. As meanwhile, some more side by side. Tilsley on the inside of Suto, and he gets moved on. Oscar, I've just noticed, has dropped down to 20, so he's continuing to fall back through the field.
Once again, Oscar not doing too well in the races. Meanwhile, Crest is trying to go for the move on. Kirby here, he's got the inside line. And he's got good grip, but not good enough, because Kirby retains the position, and now this has left Crest vulnerable to Arnold behind. Let's see if the two-time Brunner race winner can get the overtake done.
Wasn't able to do it into the chicane that time by, as meanwhile everyone's kept it clean. 1.1 seconds the gap between Kulizec and Blackwood, meanwhile in the top two. I wonder if Kulizec is actually getting onto Blackwood.
I think he is. Meanwhile, Joe, a thought has just come to me. And as a hold that thought, because Curtis makes a brilliant move to get up to 16th place. But what I was going to say, I said yesterday this track reminds me a lot of Dijon. I'm not going to correct myself. This track looks a lot like a fusion between Dijon and Jeddah.
Well, to be fair, we were commentating for practice and qualifying earlier on, and we said that it could be a mix of Suzuka and I think another track as well, but I can't remember off the top of my head what that was.
I didn't watch anyway, as looks like Zorbak is still held on the heels of Sazonov. Prazan tried to make a move, but he couldn't.
We couldn't indeed, but one thing I did point out is that when we get to the back of the circuit, which is where the last chicane is, of course, which is where Kulizec and Blackwood are coming up to, when you ride on board with the drivers, I do get a little bit of a vibe of Portland. You know the Portland track from IndyCar? I get a little bit of a vibe of that track.
Honestly, I don't remember. I don't even know the outline of that circuit, I'm afraid. As now, Zorbak is trying to go for a move into the left-hander, has back out there. Sinonome's pace is looking a little off at the moment. He's dropping back from the top three, which is not good for his championship prospects. Meanwhile, Wojtek Kulisic wants to really nail the hammer in and secure that P1 to take the championship in style. Meanwhile, Bavona is in 13th, his teammate. Still nobody out yet, which is good news. Alex Broster at the back of the field. Teresnia is away from Tsunami. He's got a 2.5 second cushion. Of course, fuel loads could come into play. It looks like Tsunami might be fueled a little heavier. As Crest goes for the outside of Kirby.
Well, it's 3 wide there, and Arnold's taking the pair though.
Arnold's made it work. Brilliant stuff. A double overtake here into the first braking zone, and he's got by quite splendidly.
I guess it's not just Magellan where we get to see triple overtakes. It seems that Balcarce could produce it as well.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Curtis has made a move as well on to Chauchanet. He's got good traction here onto the back of his teammate Chabot, and he manages to get in front of Chauchanet and stay there. Meanwhile, Prazan is up to 10th. Tsunami has been caught by Sazonov. It looks like Zorbak hasn't been able to pass Sazonov. He's lost some ground. So Alexander Arnold, who's going for the attack now into the right-hander. Zorbak stays in front, just barely.
Just barely indeed, but yeah, you talked about how Sinanome is losing touch to Kulizec. I think you could also say the same with Zorbak, because he's stuck in this train, and for both Sinanome and Zorbak, it's not looking good for them to win the titles. The two Tridents actually went side by side through into that chicane. Curtis getting a little bit compromised on the exit, and now he's under pressure.
But don't forget one key thing, Joe. If something happens to Kulisic and he retires from the race, then both Sinanome and Zorbak will be right in the right position to take advantage and claim the championship. So Kulisic has to be careful and just bring the car home.
Yeah, indeed, he doesn't want to be racing time with Blackwood unless an opportunity presents itself, of course. As meanwhile, Arnold now trying to look around the outside of his fellow compatriot around the right hander, can't make it stick. And meanwhile, that was Crest there, I think, trying to go around the outside of somebody there. Meanwhile, Oskin is now down to last place. So again, talking about it earlier on, Oskin is definitely falling backwards in this race.
Yep, indeed, he's got seemingly no pace, as now Sazonov is onto the back of Sinanome. Is this the last time they're going to race each other? It could be, because Sinanome might not have a seat on the top class grid next season, or it could be for the time being at least. As Arnold goes for a move on Zorbak, Zorbak closes the door on him.
Well, we know for a fact that Sinanome, who was linked with Sauber, is not going to get that drive, because we know that it's going to be Valdinger and Patel in those seats next season. So I think for Sinanome, I think that might be his chance at the top class. Maybe over. He may have to spend another season in F2, but we'll have to wait and see.
I wouldn't say over, I would just say delayed.
Perhaps indeed. Meanwhile, Sazonov looking to the inside of Sinanome, but he can't make it stick. Meanwhile, Crest trying to have a go at Kirby, can't make it stick either at this point in time.
Sinanome and Zorbak are dropping pace at the moment. Maybe it's down to fuel, or maybe it's just
bad pace in general. As Kulisevich is trying to gain onto Blackwood, here goes Sazonov around the outside. Can he make it work? Into what I will call turn 4. Round the outside he goes, and he's still got a lot of grip on the exit. Can he get him? And it's side by side. He has got him. Brilliant stuff. He's up to 4th place. And now this means that Tsunome will not be in a championship winning position even if Kulisevich retires.
Yeah, indeed, and well, I talked about it earlier on. If you were going to go for a move around the outside into that corner, you have to get the overlap, and Sazonov did just that. A perfect move for the man who will be driving for Aston Martin next season.
Around the outside too, but Tsunome isn't done. He's going to try to fight back, and he gets good traction from this one, but not as good as Sazonov. I think the Russian will be able to hold down just a little bit. Tsunome is trying his damned hardest to stay in the slipstream, but he's not having the easiest of times. Meanwhile, Kress was trying to attack there.
Yes, he was indeed. Meanwhile, the gap is still the same between Kulisevich and Blackwood. It's still 1.1 seconds, so that suggests to me that they're both lapping the same sort of pace as each other.
And it looks like they have a similar fuel load too. Is that a problem for someone? I thought I saw a red pit indicator.
I'm not sure, really. I don't think it was. I think it might be just a red that was on the lap times there. Meanwhile, Arnold looking to the outside here on Nicholas Zorbach. Can he pull the move off here on his fellow compatriot this time by heading towards the right-hander? No, he can't. Zorbach again holds on to the places. Meanwhile, Kress trying to go around the outside of Kirby, but once again, it doesn't work out for him.
Nope, indeed. Zorbach is starting to form a little bit of a train behind him as Andreoli is trying to make a move on James Sturt, but he decides not to go for it. He's going to have to wait a little bit. And all aboard the Zorbach train, choo-choo. Let's see what's going to happen in this fight for position.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Tsunome back on the prowl now of Sazonov heading towards the right-hander now. Then meanwhile,
Blackwood's increased his advantage. It's 1.2 seconds now.
It is 1.2 indeed. Tsunome trying to get into the slipstream of Sazonov heading towards the chicane, but he's not close enough, so maybe he'll try and wait down towards the first corner if he can.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see. Through the left-hander we go. He's lost touch a little bit, even though he set personal best lap. It wasn't enough, as China is back in 15th place. But Arnold is going to try to make the move on Zorbach down the hill. He can't make that work. Sturt goes very deep, leaves the door open for Andreoli, who snoops in and tries to take it, but Sturt manages to hold on as Chobot is taking advantage of this and passing Andreoli. Thank you very much, he says. He's taking that place, but can he hold it under braking? That is another matter. As Kress is trying to attack Kirby once again, Arnold goes for the outside of Zorbach. He can't make it work. These lines are very wide, but you have a lot of grip. This track is quite rubbery, if I dare say so, and yeah, it's good that you can brave around the outside like that and not lose major time. I'm gonna be honest.
Indeed, I think the nature of the circuit allows for that, for you to get away with that, really. I guess you can get a lot more drive taking a wider line through into that part of the track. Meanwhile, looking back at the battle for 6th now as Arnold tries to look to the inside of Zorbach. And into his right-hander, trying to break that a little bit later around this right-hander. Has he got the move this time by? As it goes side by side, coming out of that corner now there. It's still side by side. There's a huge train of cars still behind, but I think Zorbach might still have the edge. Kirby looking to try and get the move done, but around the outside goes Arnold. They're going to keep it side by side.
Lock up for Kirby.
But Zorbach somehow manages to keep it stick. Good clean racing there from the two German drivers.
Zorbach has had to look a lot in his mirrors recently as there was a little bit of contact. Kirby got launched up into the air. Thankfully not hard enough to break the front wing on impact. But he'll definitely need a change of undercrackers after that one.
Definitely indeed. Meanwhile, Prazan looks around the outside there of Kress. Can't make a step. Andreoli on the inside of Broster, but lots of movements going on towards the back of the field there. As meanwhile, Broster takes 20th there from Tildesley.
Yep, meanwhile, Bernardo Bob Dole de Oliveira is in 19th. And yeah, he's trying his best to make progress in this race. As Blackwood has increased his advantage to 1.5 seconds, so he is lapping faster than Kulisevich at the moment.
It seems that the Czech driver just hasn't got the pace compared to Blackwood at the moment. Oskin on the inside. Oh, that was nearly close to contact there between him and Tildesley, but thankfully nothing major happened there. They're still going to
Tildesley's gone a little deep, but he remains in front.
At the drive coming out the corner.
Hold on a second. Kulisevich has lost 4 tenths to Blackwood. Gap is 1.9 now. Has he made some sort of mistake?
Well, he was starting to drop back rapidly in this race, so I just think it's more Blackwood's just upping his pace in this race.
He hasn't had a problem or anything. It must have been due to an error.
Yeah, it must be, but either way, I think Kulisevich is now starting to lap slower than Blackwood, and I think Blackwood is now starting to let off the taps a little bit.
Perhaps Voigt is killing his tires. That could be the reason.
Could be indeed, but we're not expecting pit stops till around about after, I would say, the lap 20 mark. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. So that could be very interesting to keep an eye on, especially with tyre degradation.
I just wanted to say, Joe, as per tradition, it's good to commentate the finale with you, as the Oliveira is trying to defend from Broster and does so successfully.
Indeed, and I appreciate those comments. Meanwhile, Arnold on the inside of
Glad you
Zorback
do.
hanging into the first corner, can't make it stick, as meanwhile the Tridents are into combat, but Curtis can't find a way through on Chobot at this point in time. Oscar on the inside of Tilsley can't make it stick. We have only seen a couple of moves into that first corner. It seems that most of it comes from either this corner or a little bit later onto the track, especially when somebody tries to go for a dive bomb. Can Arnold get the momentum he needs? Can he get the overlap on Zorback? No, he can't.
No.
So he's not going to be able to hang it around the outside there and get the play. So once again, still stuck behind his fellow compatriot.
One very encouraging thing is that as we're gonna move there from start, he's gone past Prazan. Great stuff. But what I was going to say, one very encouraging thing is, apart from the top three, everybody is racing someone at the moment.
Indeed, there's battles all over the track, and I think due to how quickly this track is, it does lend itself to close battles. I mean, we saw in the top class qualifying session just how close that is.
Hold
Meanwhile,
on, here
Arnold on
goes
the inside.
Arnold. He's got the inside line on Zorback, and he's got good grip. But Zorback had the better exit line. He went off track. They're all four wheels off the line, off the red line. But he's gotten away with it, and he manages to stay in front of Arnold.
Meanwhile, a bit of battle in there. That was Prazan, I think, fending off from Chobot going into the chicane there. Was
Yes.
able to just do so right there. In fact, it was him trying to battle. In fact, Chobot was trying to take full advantage because Prazan was trying to get, I think that was Broster in front for P11 and was unable to get that move done.
Blackwood has stopped gaining. The gap has stabilized at 2 seconds as Arnold has just made a move on Zorback.
Yes, he has. Arnold is now up into P6. It looked like Zorback did not get the traction coming out of the final corner, and Arnold takes the place with ease.
Yep, indeed, and Zorback, unfortunately the championship is slipping away from him. He needs to gain places, not lose them, and at the moment he is not exactly doing that. As Corby will try to make sure Zorback loses another place, but here comes Cress, he's gone past Corby, he's gonna go past Zorback as well maybe, and make it
Free
two
wide.
overtakes. We're going 3 wide here. What's going to happen as Cress goes down the inside and gets past Zorback? That was brilliant racing. I was thinking in my head what to say between brilliant or beautiful. I ended up nearly butchering it.
Indeed, but another triple overtake there for Cress, and he gets up into 7th position now, but Zorback going backwards, as you mentioned, Kurisu, not exactly what he wants if he wants to win this championship.
Nope, it's all looking good for Wojtek Kulisic at the moment, but things can still change.
Indeed so, and let's not forget as well, this is Prema's final race in Formula 2 as well before they head off to DTM next season, and well, what a way it would be for them to leave with a driver's title.
Yep, indeed, I think Tony GP will be much more successful than Prema, so I'm excited for them.
Indeed, I can't wait to see what they're going to look like next season as well with with what livery they turn up with next season, but it will be very interesting, that's for sure. Meanwhile, Suto, speaking of Premas, is on the back of Bivona.
Yep, as Curtis had a little look on his teammates, Suto was unable to pass Broster, also unable to pass Protsiuk. Blackwood continuing to extend his advantage. Meanwhile, Sazonov hasn't shaken Sonoma off. The gap is still 1 second between them, as Sturt is in a battle right now with... No, sorry, not Sturt. Androli is in a battle with Prazan, who goes around the outside, but he doesn't have enough grip on... he doesn't have enough traction, but he's gonna try once again around the outside of the last chicane, after this corner, of course, and he's got good traction here, he's got him.
Yeah, he has indeed. Prazan into the points now then. Andreoli dipped out of it. Oh, he has a bit of a moment going underneath the bridge there, and now he's got a whole host of cars right behind him.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Sinonome, this is going to be very important for him to keep in mind. If he takes P4 and something happens to Kulisic and Kulisic retires, then Sinonome wins the championship, so he needs to get himself past Sazonov and then hope for a miracle.
Indeed so, as they make their way through into that chicane now then on the racetrack. Here is Blackwood continuing to, the gap is 2.7 seconds between himself and Kulisic, and I think, as you mentioned, he's kind of stabilising in that top 3 at the moment, because even Sereznia has got the gap to Sazonov behind.
Meanwhile, Nicholas Zorback is asking what happened to him in the chat. It's not that anything happened, he just didn't have the best pace and dropped a few places, that's all.
Yeah, as meanwhile, speaking of Zorbak, he's now under pressure from Joe Pedro Kirby heading in towards the right-hander here, but Zorbak will hold on for the moment because Kirby did not get the overlap needed to try and hang around the outside. Although Zorbak has a bit of a moment
Big
coming out that
moment
turn.
there, but he's gotten away with it. He keeps the position. As Prazan is trying to go for a move on Kirby, he can't make it work. Curtis versus Chobar, the battle keeps going, as Oskan is at the back of the pack, still behind Tilsley.
Trying to get out at last because he's battling with Tilsley at this stage of the race now then. But as you mentioned earlier on, Chris, there just seems to be battles everywhere on the racetrack at the moment.
By the way, if you want, you can still call me Rob, I don't mind. You can use both nicknames.
Fair, I've gotten used to Curry, so I might as well just keep calling you that.
Okay, then sure.
But anyway, as meanwhile, it looks like Kirby's now holding up a train himself now, because thanks to him being wide, and I think he also made a mistake at the same time Zorbak did. He's, in fact, hang on a second, is that Zorbak behind Kulizek or not? Yes, it is. Kirby.
Oh, it is.
Sorry, about the Kirby. So Kirby is actually unseen by the cameras, overtaken Zorbak somewhere.
Has Zorbak made another mistake? Yes, he has. He's gone off track. And some drivers were being quite liberal with track limits at that corner. I think Zorbak has taken it one step too far.
Well, we have seen that also in the top class as well. It is something to bear in mind. There is quite a lot of track limits to be debated around here, but clearly that's how the DAT line
Hold
goes
on,
around.
Zorbak is going to try to fight back here. He's got straight line speed advantage over Kirby, but he decides to back out, which opens the door for Prazan to take 9th.
Back continuing to go backwards. Again, this is not what he needs if he wants to win the championship. And as you rightly said earlier on, Caruso, it looks like it could be slipping away for the German.
It is, as Curtis still stuck behind his teammate. Sturt had a little look, as Arnold has got Sinonome.
He's now onto the back of him. He's going to try and go to the inside like he did with Zorbak earlier on. Later on the brakes, side by side they go around this right-hander now then. Let's see if Arnold can get the move done. Sinonome still has the edge, and for the moment the Japanese driver holds on to the place.
Yep, that's right. He's kept him behind. And Arnold, there isn't so much he can do at the moment. Meanwhile, Zorbak is down to 10th, I'm afraid. Chobot is trying to get in. There's been a major lockup for someone. I'm not sure who.
It was Andreoli because he went over the curbs there. So and now Andreoli is holding up a train going into that part of the track.
It happened again. I was thinking of saying major and then ended up saying massive.
Meanwhile, the Tridents are still fighting it out. Curtis trying to go around the outside of Chobot there, but it's not going to work out. It's allowing Chow Chinat to get onto the back of that train as well. Meanwhile, Arnold and Sinonome once again to combat for 5th position.
Satanov is pulling away as Arnold finds no way through.
Meanwhile, this is Prazan trying to have a look at Kirby. Can't make it stick. As meanwhile, down the inside, that's Curtis. He's passed Chobot on the straight, and he's now also overtaken Sturt. So he's taken 2 places in the space of a few meters there.
That was very aggressive, and Sturt might be trying to take it back. He's going for the inside. Can he make it work? He's gone deep into the corner, but he's got better traction, and that's the place. Curtis will have to make do with just one position, as China tries to make a move as well. He can't quite do it. Prazan v. Kirby, who's going to be in front. Prazan dives for it, but just doesn't have the grip to complete that overtake. Meanwhile, Arnold is all over the back of Sinonome. He's going to try to get past him, and Sinonome must be regretting those 2 battles he's had in Japan and Brazil. Not Japan, sorry, Italy. He is from Japan. That's why I said Japan. In Italy and Brazil.
Indeed, but whilst that's going on, it has allowed Tobias Kress to also close up as well. So it's now become a 3-0 scrap. Meanwhile, Zorbak on the inside of Prazan. Can he regain the place of the Indonesian driver down the inside into the
just
first corner?
about can.
Yes, he has indeed. So Zorbak, or has he? Because Prazan is still there. They're going to go side by side down this straight now over the bridge. But it looks like Prazan might have caught a bump there. And Zorbak's going to take full advantage. He's got the overlap heading down towards the next long right-hander on the racetrack. And Zorbak reclaims the place.
Looks like he has just a little bit better straight line speed, and that was enough for him, as Arnold makes a move on Sinonome but has to back out. Prazan is backing out as well. I was going to say he isn't backing out, but thankfully he did.
Yeah, indeed. As meanwhile, Oscar is actually unseen by the cameras, now out of last place. He's past Tilsley, somewhere on the racetrack, and he's now trying to attack that proxy for 20th place. Meanwhile, Arnold and Sinonome still into combat for 5th, as they've got Kress all over the back of them.
Yep, indeed, quite a big fight we're having here, as it's helping Sazanov pull away, and Sinonome is just leaving the door open. Arnold is going to try to go for the run the outside of the chicane, but Sinonome stays ahead. That was actually pretty smart defending, and he's pulled a little bit of a gap.
Prazan retakes the place from Zorbak, meanwhile, around the outside, into that chicane there, so a brilliant move from Prazan. He's up into 9th place.
Well, Sinonome has a pit call. I thought he had the problem, it's just a pit call.
We're at that mandatory pit stop stage now then. So on this lap, the mandatory pit stop stage. Oh, Zorbac's gone deep into the first corner. Now can Andrioli take full advantage of that? No, he can't, but it could put him under pressure, as now he's got a huge train of cars right behind him.
Sturt and Curtis are in that train, and Curtis makes the move past Sturt. Can he make the move past Andrioli as well? As we're going down the hill, can he make it stick? Chobot is also under attack from Chow China. Curtis makes his move stick, so does Chow China.
Brilliant stuff there. Sinanomi, of course, coming into the pit, as is Arnold. So we're going to have a pit stop battle here between Van Amersfoort Racing and Charouz.
I was definitely taken aback by those pit calls. I didn't expect them to come this early, but this race has quite flown by at the moment so far.
Meanwhile, Arnold on the inside of Sinanome, but he can't make it stick. Simonone hanging it around the outside and holding on to 5th place. It looks like it's going to have to come down to the pit stops between these two, unless Arnold, by some miracle, can get by in towards that chicane like we saw with Prazan a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, indeed. Meanwhile, Zorbach is continuing to drop places in this race, unfortunately, as into the pits we go.
Here we go then. So the first of the pit stops are underway, and looks like Arnold's going to have garage advantage here. So in theory, he should be able to get the jump on Sinanome here.
Well, let's see. He's got 28 laps of fuel. How long is his stop? Hold on, he could have to wait here. Thankfully, he doesn't.
8.9 seconds. I did note he had a delay on the front right, but it's not going to matter anyway. And as expected, he has got the jump on Sinanome.
Is that Bob Dole also coming into the pits? I mean, Bernardo de Oliveira?
Was the Oliveira. I did see a green car. Yes, he's in. In fact, Pavona was also in as well. So we had a few cars in on this lap. And also Kulizec is coming into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yep, the championship leader is coming in as we just missed a brilliant battle here between Zorbach and Curtis. Zorbach taking that inside curb fully and managing to stay in front, but for how much longer? Curtis tries to go around the outside, but he can pull it off. He's gonna have to wait and try again at a later point as Project makes a move onto Samet Özkan, who as a result of all those spitters is no longer in last.
Blackwood in as well, so the top two are coming in.
Yep, they are. In comes Blackwood and in comes Kulistec. Teresnian will take the lead temporarily. And of course he's going to have to concede it. But will he have a pace advantage in the second stint perhaps? Who knows? As Blackwood is being serviced, does he have to wait for anybody? No, it's an 8.5 second stop for the Jamaican. As Kulisic, what will his stop be? 8.2, so have a second faster. But that won't help too much because there was a 3.4 second gap. It looks like these guys are going to emerge right in traffic. Blackwood is just in front of Zorbach and Kulisic is right in front of the Trident.
Indeed, he's got a bit of clear air in front, but I wouldn't be surprised with the fresher tyres he'll catch back up. But that was, in theory at least, unless one of the drivers has issues later on, Prema's final pit stop in F2.
Yep, indeed. Kulisic has to be very careful here. He can't afford to risk a crash while battling with these guys.
Well, Chobot's trying to go around the outside of Kulisic, but it's not going to work out. Kulisic holding on to the place, and it looks like Andrioli will try and get onto the back of the Trident. We've got a yellow flag!
Yellows.
We've got a yellow... And it's Tilsley! Tilsley's out of the race! And now, is that a crash or is that a mechanical problem?
Looks like a crash to me. As is that an overtake under yellows? No, it's not an overtake. But Prazan goes through the hazardous area. And what exactly happened? Jake Tilsley.
Was down at this point of the track right here, so not... Oh, he lost it on his own! It was a complete driver error there from Jake Tilsley at high speed!
You know what this reminds me of? Charles Leclerc, France.
He took way too much speed there, and Tilsley is out of the race, and, well, that was all on him. I think that basically sums up his season, really.
Yes, indeed, and this is exactly like Charles Leclerc in France. Even the corner type is the same.
Indeed so. It's a similar profile of corner, and, well, Tilsley has his miserable season ends on a flat note.
Yep, indeed, what a shame. And will he be retained in F2 next season? I'm not sure. Or will he go to Chinese F7 with Jamie Griffiths? Who knows?
That's been the joke, hasn't it? But oddly enough, we've gone 21 laps without a retirement, and that was the first retirement of the race, as Kai Seresnia comes into the pits and was now at the halfway stage of the race.
Yep, meanwhile Blackwood is staying in front of these guys, which includes Zorbach. Kulisic is a little further down.
Indeed, and in fact, that was because Chobot actually kind of compromised him there going around the chicane. But as mentioned, Seresnia is into the pit. Where is he going to emerge in comparison to Kulisic, I wonder? Still behind him.
Yeah, he will be behind. Meanwhile, as a result of Tilsley's retirement, Carlin are officially out of the team style fight. Not like they were going to win it anyway, but they are officially out now.
Indeed, they basically need the most of the field to retire to have any chance of winning it. Meanwhile, Curtis has got a run here. Speaking of Carlins, on Nicholas Zorbak, Danny inside into the right hander, and he's got the move done. Zorbak continuing to fall back as Kulisec still fighting with Chobot, and he's not left him alone. But I guess the only positive for Kulisec is that Chobot will be pitting soon. Confirmation that Tilsley is out of the race there with that graphic.
Chobot's going for an aggressive move down the inside of Kulisec. Can he get past him? And he just about can. Kulisec is being extremely cautious at the minute. He can't afford to risk a collision, as behind him is now Tsunonomi's teammate, who, dare I say it, could try something unforgivable on Kulisec, because he's coming into the pits. Let's see, he's gonna go for the move down the inside. Kulisec is trying to make way, but he's got good traction.
Andrioli, of course, is coming into the pit here in this lap. There's still cars needing to pit, although Andrioli's going to try and have a go. No, he doesn't. He thinks better of it, but he'll soon peel off to the right-hand side, and he'll be pitting for his final stop of the race. The graphics only just catching up now to say that Suresni's pitted, even though he already has. But Andrioli in, as is Protsiuk.
Yep, that's right. And in comes Santino. He has had some doubts over being retained or not. Though personally, I think he will be retained. I guess we'll find out next season when the release when the next season roster is announced. Thankfully, I'll get to do it again, as Androli's having to wait here.
It's being held up. It will be in 2 weeks' time, that will be, because, of course, we have a week break next week.
Alright, so, 2 weeks.
So it'll be in 2 weeks' time. And we'll find out what the 2023 Formula 2 lineup is going to look like, of course.
Well,
but,
perfect
anyway,
timing then. I can go watch a movie next Tuesday, no problem.
Indeed. So, anyway, as mentioned, Tobias Kress is coming in. Sazonov is staying out for a little bit longer, but Kress, who's currently in second, and was actually, I think, behind Arnold and Sinanome, is coming into the pits this lap. As meanwhile, Curtis, that's a move there on Blackwood. Yes, it was, I think. I think Blackwood clearly struggling with tyres at the moment, but I guess just letting him go because he doesn't want to risk too much.
It doesn't look like he's struggling. It just seems like the guys on lighter fuel who haven't pitted yet are just genuinely faster, so the overcut is quite powerful around here.
Indeed so, as now coming into the pits then will come Alex Broster, and into the pit lane he will go, along with, of course, Kress, who's also into the pits meanwhile, as is Zorbak, and there is Kress, you just saw him there, and he's just finished his pit stop, 7.7 seconds, I don't know if he got slightly held up there or not, but he's coming out of the pit lane now then, and he's going to emerge in 7th position, it looks like, or could it be 8th? No, he's actually got the jump on Arnold, so Kress has got the jump on Arnold.
How's he pulled that off? Brilliant stuff with the overcut, and he's only just got him. Meanwhile, Zorbak is in front of Sturt, but where's Sinanome actually? He's a long way back. That undercut has cost him dearly.
Indeed, it seems that the traffic has really not helped Sinanome, and just like with Zorbak, I think his championship is slipping away, because even Zorbak has rejoined in front of him, so Sinanome being in this traffic has definitely cost him, and well, just like with Zorbak, I think his championship is also slipping away.
Well, as long as Kulisec is ahead of them, there's nothing they can do.
Indeed so. Sazonov and Curtis are still yet to pit, of course, and so they'll be pitting soon, as Oscar will be pitting at the end of this lap. Meanwhile, Arnold's actually passed Kress on the track, so Arnold has got back in front of Kress.
Interesting. As this fight is continuing, we gotta move further behind, and then Prazan tried to make a move onto Blackwood there.
And that's how Arnold got the move done.
Not Blackwood, sorry. Corby.
Indeed,
confused them for Dams for a second.
Arnold got the move there at turn 2 there, so just after Kress came out of the pit, so he took advantage of Kress's cold tyres.
Yep, indeed. In the meantime, Sturt is all over the back of Zorbak. He's going to try to get past him.
Indeed so, as they now make their way towards that chicane now then on at the racetrack, as meanwhile...
Curtis is in.
Curtis is into the pit, so in fact, so is Sazonov. So those two have now pitted, and Sazonov rejoins in 4th position.
Yep, indeed, as Zorbak makes the defense on Sturt. I was going to say overtake, but remembered he was in front the entire time. Meanwhile, Luskin has jumped quite a few people, including Broster here.
Indeed so, as we're just seeing an overtake there going on there. That was and heading into turn 1 there. That was, well, that was Proxy being overtaken by, I think that was Broster there.
An interesting question. Who would be vice champion like this?
At the moment, if it were to stay like this, it would be Zorbak who'd be in second, I think.
Hold on, isn't there a chance someone else could take it? What about Sazonov?
Let's have a look. Well, Sazonov's currently in 4th position, so he would get 12 points. So, in fact, no, it would not be enough for him to get 2nd place. At the moment, I think it will. In fact, Serezny is currently in 3rd, but it won't be enough for him either. So I think at the moment, Zorbak will be the vice champion.
What about Blackwood?
Blackwood, let's have a look with him. So, in fact, who has the fastest lap of the race? Just curious about that one, really. It is Arnold who has it. So Arnold's got the fastest lap of the race at the moment. So he's currently on the bonus point for the fastest lap at this stage. So Blackwood is currently...
Crash, a big crash!
Oh, crash! We got a crash, and that's Chao Chinat, and I think that was Chobot, wasn't it, if I'm not mistaken?
It is, and there's debris all over the track. Careful there. Oliveira manages to avoid it. Androli doesn't, but he doesn't take damage.
Some wings, that's the Oliveira's wing as well. I think a Prema has got involved. I think that would be Bivona that's lost his wing as well, because Kulzet was
Chaos.
forward. So, yeah, we've got Chaos at the chicane.
Oh my goodness me, while we were stuck in all the math, the racers decided to give us a little bit of excitement, and Chao Chinat closed the door heavily. You should have known Chobot was going there. It's a fast corner. You need to be spatially aware, and I'm sorry, but I have to put this on Chao Chinat.
Well, I would also say Chobot has some responsibility because he wasn't far alongside Chao China at that point. So you could say in a way maybe both are to blame on this instance.
Yeah, but Chao Chinat should have known he had the car on his inside. He can't close the door in like that.
We did see that there were a couple of cars with damage, and I think one of them was Bivona, and the other one was the Oliveira, and yes, it was. They clipped the wheels there, and somehow Andreoli also clipped a wheel, but he somehow has not got any damage from it.
Poor Bob Dole's gonna have to make a stop, but Androli's going to gain from this chaos.
He is indeed, and, well, huge chaos at that chicane there, and,
He's hit the debris twice, actually, but he got away with it.
Yeah, indeed, and I think that will just be marked as a racing incident there, because I think both are apart, but they're both in to have a new front wing, but yeah, we're now down to 19 runners as a result.
Yep, indeed, and now we can get back to the math. Where would Blackwood be?
Let's have a look then. So, currently we have Arnold, who has the fastest lap. He'll be on 91 points at the moment, so no, Blackwood wouldn't take 2nd either. So, I think, because he was 30 points, so he's nowhere near Zorbak at this point. So, yeah, I think even though he's currently running in 10th, I think, Zorbak will do enough to be the vice-champion to Kulazach.
Well, I think he'll be happy with that, at the very least. As,
Yeah,
hold on a second, Kirby has just made a move on Prazan. His third is going for the inside of Zorbak, he can't make it work.
Indeed, as they now make their way through in towards these next section of corners. As now we look at that's Oskin, and in fact it's safe to say Oskin. Let's not forget he had quite a as he's trying to have a look at Sinanome into the chicane, but he can't make it stick. But I was just about to say with Oskin, we saw at the beginning of the race he was dropping backwards down the field, but he's gained quite a lot during his pit stops, and he's now up to 14th and on the back of Sinanome.
He was dropping back because he was fueled quite heavily, but then he was able to unleash his overcut, and now he's got fresher tires than the cars around him. Looks like his strategy might have actually worked.
Yeah, indeed, and he's now 14th. Meanwhile, Prazan, I think, going a bit defensive for some reason. He probably thinks that, I don't know who that is in 9th place, but he thinks he's all over the back. Meanwhile, after the pit stop, Blackwood has now increased the gap to Kulazec. It's now 4.9 seconds between the pair.
5.2 between Kulisic and Teresnia, so it looks like the pole isn't gaining too much at the moment. But Sazonov is just 3 seconds down. He might be gaining on Teresnia and trying to take the podium. I wonder what that would mean for the team's title. Because at the moment I think Dams are winning, but if Teresnia goes off the podium, that could change.
While Prazan's attacking Kirby again for P7, he's going to try and go around the outside.
He's got the overlap.
Chicane. Oh, contact there, and he's gone for a spin. He's gone for a spin, and, well, Prazan, you could say, was a little bit ambitious, and people having to take avoiding action, and he's having to wait for a gap in the traffic. But, yeah, over-ambitious there for Prazan, you'd have to say.
Yes, indeed. And you know what this chicane reminds me of having just seen that incident? The fast... Oh, he's crashed into the wall, so I'm going to have to hold my thought. He's going to have to come into the pits. But yeah, that chicane, that left-hander reminds me of the very fast left-hander at the start of Sector 3 in Jeddah.
Indeed, and, well, clearly, Prazan getting a little bit too ambitious. We just saw that De Oliveira there, I think, just pulled an overtake on someone out there. But, yeah.
Prazan understeered, he overshot the corner. He was trying to correct it and ended up straight into the path of Kirby.
Yeah, indeed, and Kirby very lucky himself that he didn't get collected and all that, but that does mean that James Sturt is now into the points.
Yep, that's right. As in the meantime, Curtis is trying to gain places, and Sturt is trying to gain a place from Zorbak. He's going around the outside, but the Germans kept him behind.
Indeed, Sturk trying to put the slipstream here on Zorbak, heading in towards this right-hander. Can he dive it down the inside? No, he can't, and he has to hold on for the time being. Meanwhile, Oskin's got a run here on Sinanome heading into this corner. Can he pull it off? Nope, the Japanese driver holds on for the time being. They've also dragged Protsyuk and Suto into that fight as well.
Given the circumstance of this title fight, by the way, I suggest we announce Kulisic as the champion the moment he crosses the line, since if he's ahead of his contenders.
Oh yeah, that's how we announce it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, because I know in the other series you waited until it was late enough to announce the champion, but now we're gonna do it the moment he crosses the line, of course.
That was mainly because they were actually behind going into this. Meanwhile, that was Curtis there, who's just put an overtake on Kirby around the outside. I did mention if you get the overlap through into that kink, you should be able to get the place, and that is exactly what Curtis has done by getting the traction coming out that final corner.
You need to be very, very brave to go for that move down the hill where you can't see a thing on the descent, but he's done quite well with that overtake. Oskan is going to try to do the same into turn 1, or turn 2, or turn 3, or whatever you want to call it, but he can't pass into that turn.
Looks like Kirby's trying to get back at Curtis. Meanwhile, he's going to look to the inside into this right-hander. Can he pull the move back? And he can indeed. So he didn't let Curtis off the hook too easily. And Kirby retakes the place.
He took so much speed for that corner. I thought he was going to do a tiltsy, but thankfully not, as now Curtis is trying to counterattack. He's got the inside line here. Can he make it through? Looks like he can.
Yep, so it didn't last for too long there. Kirby thought he got the place back, but Curtis said no to that. And Curtis is officially now up into 7th place. But Kirby will not give up just yet.
No, definitely not. Let's see what's going to happen though as this fight continues. I don't think they're looking at the minimap, they're quite far behind the cars ahead. So this could be the best finishing position for both these guys. So they're gonna fight with all they got for it. Meanwhile, another person will be fighting with all he's got is Zorbak, who's defending from start, and they come very close to contact, but Zorbak stays in front.
Yeah, indeed. Meanwhile, we're looking at the battle for 12 as Protsyuk takes a wider line through into Chicane. That's compromising, and it could give Suto the opportunity to pounce.
Now, the first high tech today was messed up at the chicane, but thankfully his mess up was much less consequential than his teammates.
Meanwhile, we're looking there. That's Oscar trying to have a go at Sinanome there, but he can't make it stick. And Sinanome holding on to the place. We've got 15 laps to go here in 2022 for Formula 2.
Yes, indeed. And what a race. This has been quite chaotic. With so much high-speed action, as now Oskan will be trying to go for an overtake on Sinanome. He's on the outside and he shows no intention of backing down. He goes for it, but Sinanome had the inside and it's kept him in front. Sturt goes for a move on Zorbak. Can he get past him? Yes, he finally can, is the answer.
Up into 9th place, and to point out with the amount of overtakes we've had today, as Zorbak has a lockup going underneath the bridge there. But on the topic of the overtakes, there were some people during the stream chat for practice who were a bit worried that there probably wouldn't be any overtaking around here. Well, clearly today the F2 drivers have proved that it is possible, so who knows what the top class has in store for tomorrow.
Well, I hope I'll be able to commentate for that one, because I've only just got started with the Balcarce fun, and I don't want to see it stop so early, as Sinanome is still under pressure from Oskan, who's taken a slow line into the chicane and lost a heap of time.
Yep, indeed, as they now make their way towards the final turn. Andreoli trying to have a look at Suto there. He's now caught up to the back of this train now. Then as they make their way towards the first corner, is anybody going to go for an overtake? Suto's trying to go at Protsyuk, not going to work out, and Andreoli has to hang back for the time being.
Suto was able to cover him off though and keep Andreoli behind. But let's see what happened now onto this long straight.
Let's have a look and see now. Then as they now make their way towards turn number 2 on track.
Looks like Suto's going for the move, but if he fails, Andreoli will be in prime opportunity to pounce. Suto goes for it. Quite close to contact they go, but he's gone past Protsyuk, and so has Andreoli, or has he? They're still side by side, not anymore. Andreoli is ahead.
Good move there. Andreoli with the opportunistic driving to get the move done there on Agi Prazan there, and he gets the move done into I think not Agi Prazan. It was it was Protsyuk, wasn't it? I get those two mixed up. But anyway, as meanwhile we're looking at Kirby, who's now starting to fall back now from Aaron Curtis after he overtook. Is Arnold still got the fastest lap of the race? I didn't quite catch that there.
Well, we haven't seen any updates. I was wondering on the topic of Blackwood, where is he going to be in the championship? 3rd, 4th, 5th?
Let's have a quick look out, actually, because I did mention if he was to stay like this, he would...
You can't get
have-
second anyway, because the maximum you can get in the race is 26 points, and you said he's 30 behind Zorbak.
So he'll be on 91 points. Will he be ahead? He won't be ahead of Sinanome because he's on 94 points at this stage. But
So that's unreachable.
But I'm just looking because I think Sazanov's in fourth. So I think at the moment, I think Blackwell will actually move up to fourth in the championship if it was to stay like this.
I think he'll definitely take that. Meanwhile, Sinanome is losing a position to Oskan, who's going for the inside. Can he make it work in the fast right-hander? Ooh, very close to contact. I tell you what, he has made it work quite nicely there.
Sinanome's going to try and get going for it back, but already Oskan wides to that and covers the inside into the third long right-hander on this racetrack.
Could Oskan maybe have a chance at points, or is that too much of a long shot?
Well, it depends. I think he's... what's the gap between him and Broster is to come out of the sector 2? 5.4
Pretty big.
seconds. So maybe we'll keep an eye on that, as we've still got, well, including this lap, they've still got 11 and a bit laps to go in this race.
Hold on, my eyes weren't deceiving me. Sazonov is under a second behind P3.
Yeah,
He's
well,
got
we
up to
did
Resnia.
we did talk about that. Is Sazonov gaining onto Serezny? It looks like he is. So maybe we could have a fight for third towards the end of the race. There is Sazonov and there is Serezny just in front. The gap, as you said, 1 second. But it also looks like there's a couple of other cars in the distance there. You've got Kress in 5th position, who's actually closing onto the back of Sazonov. And I'm just wondering who the car is in 6th place that's just behind him that's in the distance. It's Arnold. So there's actually 4 cars within that shot there who could maybe have a scrap for that final podium place.
Who's winning the team's championship like this, Dams?
Yes, it would be Dams because they are 1-3 at the moment and they obviously came into this race leading it. So if it was to stay like this, Dams would win the team's championship.
Oh, right. Okay. As Sonome goes for the move on Suto, he's lost that position earlier, he's retaken it now.
And technically, Suto now finds himself in a Van Amersfoort sandwich as it looks like VAR, the team's championship, is slipping away for that team at the moment, with both of them currently out of the points.
Yep, unfortunately, it just wasn't their day for either Sinanome or his rival Zorbak. It'll be a brilliant day for Wojtek Kulisevich. Even though he threw away the win in Brno, it won't matter. He's still gonna win this championship, and it's all looking good for him. He's got just 10 more laps, and he doesn't even have to finish the race, but I think he will want to finish the race, because he will end the season on 3 successive podiums if it were to stay as is.
And it would be the perfect way not just to end his season, but also to end Prema's time in Formula 2. As Broster's on the inside of Zorbak, who's getting caught up on the bump, and Zorbak...
He's gone off track! He's out of the points!
Broster now up into 10th place, so clearly Zorbak getting caught up on the bumps, heading down towards that first corner.
Meanwhile, Sinanome an unlucky 13th. Or actually, I don't know what numbers are unlucky in Japan, because I know some other numbers is unlucky in Japan, but I can't quite remember which one. Either way, he's in the Western unlucky number of 13th place.
Meanwhile, we're now looking at Suto's trying to look around the outside of Sinanome for the meantime. Has he got the overlap on the Japanese driver? He's trying to, but he can't make it stick. Andreoli could be there to pounce, but he can't, as the 3 of them are grouped together, heading down towards this right-hander. As Suto trying to have a look on the inside, but Sinanome covers it off and holds onto the place for the time being.
Yep, indeed. And Hento, if you're still in the chat, can you please tell us which numbers are unlucky in Japan? Because I am very curious now that I think about it.
Anyway, moving back to the battle for 13th again. Suto trying to get a run on Sinanome. Going to try again on the inside into this right-hander. Can he pull the move off? And again,
No.
Sinanome holds on to the place. He also needs to keep an eye that Andreoli is there. And also as well, because it looks like Proxute's getting back into that scrap as well.
Yeah, Sinanome has no pace at the moment. This is helping Andreoli stay in the fight. But we have to take a look at the fight for third, because Kress is trying to make a move on Sazonov in the fight for fourth, actually. But both of them are chasing after Kaitsuresny, and they're going to try their damn hardest to catch and pass him. Sazonov stays in front of Kress, but Kress has got better traction, he's got better drive. Sazonov almost pushes him into the wall, but manages to stay ahead.
Yeah, indeed, and well, as they now make their way down towards the quick left-right-hander, if these two keep fighting, that could give Serezny the breathing space he needs to try and hold on to that third place.
Yeah, indeed, but at this moment they're slipstream training each other in a way, and that's helping them stay close to that Dams.
Indeed so, as they now make their way towards the last chicane now, then as Kress is going to try and have a go at Sazonov in towards this chicane, but it's not going to work out. Sazonov holding on to the place for the time being as they come out
I
of
wanted to ask Joe, this will be Blackwood's second or third win, because I know he won at least one race last season, I just don't remember how many.
Well, at the moment he's looking at his first victory of the season, but I will
Yeah, I
quickly
know
double
that.
check on that while that battle's going on.
I mean, how many? I mean, will this be his second F2 career win or his third?
Have a look as
Okay.
I'm gonna have
Hold
a
on a
look on the
second
wiki.
because Kress is going for the move here on Sazonov. Going in towards the right hand, there we go. And he's not got him. Or has he? He's got him now.
He's up to 4, but Sazonov already back on the inside of Kress heading towards the next right-hander. Can he get the move back? No, he can't, and Kress gets the place now. Can Kress go after Sereznia for that final podium place?
All three of these guys are closer to Teresnia than they were before. So this is very interesting. Looks like this fight for a podium will get quite animated. As Suta goes for a move around the outside of Tsunonome, he's going very deep. But the inside line is usually advantageous here, as Androli has taken an inside line and almost gone past Suto, but not quite.
To answer your question from earlier on, it will be his second career win. Blackwood only got 1 victory last season.
Alright, I had the feeling he had gotten 2, but it was just the 1. Well, this will be his second, but will his teammate hold on to the podium? That's another question.
Yeah, indeed, as they make their way down towards the first corner, Kress is
He's under
definitely gaining.
pressure.
So the Polish driver, and he will also, I think, drag both Sazonov and Arnold with him.
Yes, indeed. And who's that behind them? Because there is one more car. It's Curtis. He could join this fight.
It's 3 seconds behind Arnold, so we'll have to wait and see if he can gain on this. Meanwhile, Kress looking to the inside already on Sereznia, but Sereznia already has it coming. Oh,
He's
no,
gone off
Kress
track.
is on one!
He's gone off track and he rejoins on safely, but thankfully there is no massive collision.
And Sazonov reclaims 4th as a result, so Kress might have just bottled his chance at a podium there.
Could be, yeah, but who knows? He might still have the pace to catch and pass. But this could be a very costly mistake to make. He just understeered and went off the track completely. My goodness me, I thought that was going to be a dangerous rejoin, but thankfully these guys actually know how to rejoin on this track.
Seems so indeed for the moment. Meanwhile, it looks like Andreoli has passed Suto. Meanwhile, now Andreoli is trying to pass his own team.
Hold on, Suto's going to try to get them both.
He only gets Andreoli back though, and he gets back up to 14th as Proxy looks on to see if he can take any form of advantage. Meanwhile, Kress and Arnold are now fighting for 5th position.
Yes, indeed they are. Meanwhile, Teresnia is under pressure now from Sazonov. Sazonov wants to finish his time in F2 with a podium. Let's see if he can do it. Kress had some trouble passing Teresnia. Will it be easier for Sazonov?
We shall see as they make their way down the hill now. Then there is a bit of a gap now between Sazonov and Kress, 1.7 seconds to be exact, as he might have to keep an eye on Arnold.
Curtis is in this train as well.
He's actually gained massively on that lap. I think thanks to all that chaos that happened down at the second right-hander, it allowed him to close up.
Yep, indeed. Meanwhile, just for Suto versus Santos Tsunonome versus Santino Androli is continuing for another chapter. Into the last corner, Tsunome's had a terrible line, and Suto just waltzed right through. What about his teammate? Androli is going down the inside of Tsunonome. No, the Japanese driver stays ahead.
So that's he keeps the place for the time being. There is Kulazek, who is looking very lonely in 2nd place, but it's not going to matter anyway, because so far it is looking good for him to take the title today. But meanwhile, I just saw that Arnold was on the back of Kress, as meanwhile Andreoli and Tsunonome, the 2 VARs, scrapping it out for what is 14th position.
Yep, indeed, he's going for the outside, but as I said just a lap ago or two, the inside line is advantageous here, though he's got good traction. Tsunonome felt the need to go defensive, and Androli's going to try to bounce, but he can't make it work, and this could help Protsi get into the fight as well. But I really want to see what's going on in the fight for third, because looking at the minimap, it's quite contested.
7 tenths, so Sazonov took another 10th out there. Looks like Kress actually is getting back onto it, and because Curtis is on the back, so we've now got a 5-way scrap for 3rd position here.
Maybe Kress hasn't thrown away a podium just yet.
Perhaps not indeed. He's still got 6 laps in which to do so, as we're on lap 39 of 44 here at Balcarce, as they now make their way down towards the right-hander now then on the racetrack. Neither of them close enough to go for a move just yet, but maybe on the next... maybe on the next lap we'll see that happen, as my voice decided to go. There's Andreoli.
Andreoli goes for the move on his teammate Tsunonome, once again vulnerable at the last corner, and he loses another place. What is going on with Hento Tsunonome in turn, whatever number it is today?
We'll class it as the final corner. We'll just say the final corner. He just seems
okay.
like, once again, he just seems to struggle coming out of that final turn. This corner here that Bavona and Prazan are at the moment. Prazan trying to get a run here on Bavona in towards the first corner. Can't make it work. Meanwhile, Curtis is trying to have a go at Arnold here.
Yep, indeed. 5 laps to go for the race leader, Jafari Blackwood. But Aaron Curtis knows he has an outside chance at the podium if he can pass 4 people in 5 laps.
Yeah, indeed, they just come out of that final chicane now. Then it's now make
It's
their
easier
way.
said than done.
Indeed so. Meanwhile, heading down towards the first corner. Kress has got the slipstream here on Sazonov, heading down towards the first corner, but he's not close enough, and he might have to wait for this long back straight to try and get the move done.
Teresnia is doing a good job with his pace and with his management to stay in front of these guys and not give Sazonov any real opportunities to attack. Meanwhile, someone who might get an opportunity to attack is Kress. It looks like he'll go for the outside. Please don't understeer off this time, as Curtis is going to try to do the same. But Kress can't make it work. What about Curtis, who goes very deep? He also can't make it work.
No, can't make it work, and he hasn't got the slipstream to try and get him back. Same goes with Kress on Sazonov.
Indeed. Meanwhile, I thought I saw a pit call there for a second. It must have been just my eyes tricking me. The 2 cars took damage earlier into combat for nothing really.
Yeah, indeed, as they now make their way out of that final corner now. Then, as meanwhile, Kress has got a run once again on Sazonov, who himself has got a run on Sereznia here. So they're now right onto the back of Kai Sereznia here for that final podium place.
He's gonna get a good drive into the chicane, but I think he's a little bit too far back. He might have to try something down the hill for turn 1. He stays put behind for the chicane, doesn't try anything, but let's see if he can get Sereznia now. And Sereznia's traction wasn't as bad as Tsunonome's, but he definitely lost a little bit of ground. Sazonov is gonna send it down the hill, but he fails.
Yeah, indeed, as Curtis still can't find a way through on Alexander Arnold. Meanwhile, down towards the back straight we go. Is anyone going to go for me? We have Prazan's on the inside of Bavona, but now Sazonov looking to the outside of Sereznia now. Then Kress,
this is gonna open the door for Kress. He's gonna get past Sazonov, I think, if he can't make it work on the outside. Kress might try to get both of them here. He's got one, but not the second one, as Curtis goes extremely wide in a battle with Arnold, but Arnold stays ahead.
Whoa, you can see Curtis on the ragged edge there, pushing to the limit all the time. Kress on the inside of Sereznia. Is this going to be P3 for the MP Motorsport
It is.
driver? And it is. Kress is onto the podium place.
He didn't throw away a podium after all. Now all he has to do is drop them.
Indeed, and well, that's not going to cost Dams at all at the moment, because it was to stay like this, Dams would still win the team's title regardless of Sereznia losing that place there, and I think it would still not matter even if Sazonov got the move done.
Team radio to Sebastian Vettel in the 2012 Chinese Grand Prix after he overtook Raikkonen for third. Good job, now drop him. This is exactly what Kress is hearing on Team Radio right now.
Yes, indeed. Can Sazonov get a run on Sereznia coming out of the final corner now? Then no, not quite. Hasn't got enough traction, but could he possibly get a run down that back straight again to try and get the move done? Although he is thinking about a move into the first corner. Not
down the hill.
Not down the hill this point, so he might have to wait for this back straight to try and get the move done now. Then let's see if he's getting a run this time on Sereznia, heading down this straight. He's going to the outside. Can he get the overlap heading down this straight this time by? He's trying to get alongside Sereznia as best as possible now then, as meanwhile Curtis is trying to do the same on Arnold, heading towards his corner, but it's not going to be enough, so Sazonov will have to try and maybe get him on traction coming out this corner, but Arnold might take full advantage of Sazonov here. He's got a good run on the Univirtuosi driver, but Sazonov already covering it. Arnold looking to the inside line, but he can't make it stick. And
of course, their last run a race with the Uni title. Next season they'll be switching just over to OC.
Indeed, meanwhile Zorbak, who's continuing to fall back, is now under pressure from Samet Oskan, so Oskan is now all over the back room in the fight for 11th place. Meanwhile, we get back to the
four-car fight from 4th. It's very exciting as Kress is pulling away. Has Kress been on the podium this season? My memory has failed me on that one.
Yes, I think he has. Yeah, he's actually had a win this season.
He has one, right? Where?
He won at, looking at that, it was Silverstone he won at. He also got a podium.
Right. Sorry. My memory tricks me sometimes with the standings as he tries to go for a move down the hill, as I'll be right back.
Okay, hopefully you'll be back in time for the finish, as we've got 2 laps to go in this race now. Then, as now we've got a run here for Arnold, who's now trying to have a go at Andrei Sazonov. He's going to try and just in time, in fact, as now Arnold looks to the outside line on Sazonov now. Then can he pull the move off? He's got to keep an eye on Curtis behind, who could be lurking in the wings as he goes wide. Can Curtis take full advantage here, going out the exit corner? Curtis on the inside line, and he's got the move done. Curtis is up into 6th place, Arnold down to 7th. Meanwhile, Sazonov looks to the inside of Sereznia, but he can't make it stick, and Sereznia holds on for the time being.
As it stands, Dams will still win the team's title, so they'll be happy with that. And Sazonov wants to take that P4. I think he knows the podium is out of reach for him now, but he can still take 4th.
Indeed, but I think Blackwood is about to start the final lap, not just of this race, but also of the season very soon, as he's just coming towards the line. Yep, and Blackwood has started the final lap of the 2022 Formula 2 season.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Sazonov is staying put into the chicane. Is he going to try down the hill again like he's tried so many times? Meanwhile, James Sturt is trying to pass Pedro Kirby here. He's going to go for the move into the chicane, and they've made contact. And
They
Sturt
both spun.
spins it.
Both spun. Kirby and they both spun, and Broster is going to go around. No, he's not, and Kirby is out of the race. Kirby is out. I think that is a wheel off for Kirby, so his race is done and dusted, and he's going to have to pit for a new front wingers process. So it's all kicking off. Zorbac's going to get back into the points as a result of that.
Yes, indeed, but it's not going to do him enough because Kulisec is in second place. Kulisec will take the championship. At least Zorbak will get the score.
Indeed, but we might as well look at Blackwood, who's just coming underneath the bridge for the 44th and final time. We'll hold that because Curtis is actually up into 5th place. He's got by on Sazonov, but he can't get the move done on Sereznia. Let's see how he got this one.
Must have been down the inside. Yep, it is, just like he got past Arnold earlier.
Yeah, indeed, but he wasn't able to get Sereznia, but we might as well get to the race leader, who is coming up towards the end of the race, as we take a look at one more replay of this crash between Sturt and Kirby, and I think it's just similar to what we saw earlier on with, I think it was it, who was it? It was Chai China, wasn't it, if I'm not mistaken, and also Chobot. I think it's just similar incident, really.
Pretty much, yeah. As Broster, unfortunately, has picked up some damage as well. He was having a good race. Unfortunately, he's not going to get anything from... Oh, no, he didn't take damage. Oh, he did.
He did
But he's going to try to carry on to the finish line.
It is the final lap, so there's no real point. We might as well get to Blackwood.
The final lap. Let's get to the leader. Jafari Blackwood has had a pretty quiet, undisturbed race. He held off a challenge at the start from his teammate, then led the entire way through, and now out of the chicane for the last time. Jafari Blackwood is going to be the Argentine Grand Prix's first ever winner. But now the man of the moment is Wojtek Kulisec, who, as he finishes second, is the F2 champion for this season.
Congratulations to Wojtek Kulisec, and in Prema's final season, they take the driver's title. With Sereznia crossing the line in 4th, it means that Dams have won the team's title.
Yep, indeed. Kurz takes 5th. Sazonov has himself for P6, and quite interesting racing in the end. Sturt is in P8. Where's Broster? I'm not sure.
I think he's dropped back.
Oskan is going to be P10. Look at that.
Good comeback from him after the slow start. So 8th place will go to Sturt, 9th for Zorbak, and 10th for Oskan. And Broster will just get 11th, just in front of Suto and Andrioli there.
Yep, indeed. Protsuk will take 14th. Sinonome, it just wasn't his day. Everything was wrong for him today. He's not going to take the championship. He's not going to take 2nd. I think he's going to be 3rd. De Oliveira is in 16th. Prazan is going to be 17th.
And and Brovona 18th. Just checking who got the fastest lap, just in case the results decide to.
That is Prema's last ever moment in a race.
Indeed, just having a look at this. So in case it crashes, we can just quickly take an image of that, and also who got the fastest lap. So in the end, it was Arnold who got the fastest lap of the race, so he gets the bonus point for the fastest lap.
Alright, good. Well, what a race this has turned out to be. We had great racing, we had drama, we had chaos, we had everything in this, didn't we? And we had the worthy winner of Jafari Blackwood, who has taken the team's title for his team. Kulisec has taken the driver's title, though.
Yep, indeed, and but for Kulisec, what a perfect way. Will it be enough for him to be in the top class, though, next season, I wonder? Because
what is he competing for, McLaren?
McLaren. He's competing for McLaren, but whether he will or not is another question. It all really depends on Willows, of course, going to Mercedes, and it also kind of depends on what happens with QPOC as well.
Yeah, indeed.
Is it going to crash, or are we going to get to the results screen, I wonder?
The car with Air Djibouti on it won the title. Wow, world, says Evan. Air Djibouti!
And, well, it's not crashed just yet. It's still frozen at the... Oh, right.
Well,
okay.
we've already basically read the results, haven't we?
Well, no, we haven't. We go through the results one more time before we get to the national anthems. I guess Flo can put it up on the screen for us. Well, it's on our end, I guess. I mean, for the viewers. But might as well go through the results then before we go to the national anthems.
Hold on a second. That was the fastest laps. Now there we have the results. So Jafari Blackwood wins. He's done a brilliant job today. His first win of the season and last win of the season, of course. Wojtek Kulisevich takes second, his third podium in a row, and the podium that gives him the championship. Tobias Kress in third, with Katsureznia fourth, Aaron Curtis fifth, Andrei Sazonov sixth, Alexander Arnold seventh, and with the fastest lap. James Sturt 8th, Nicholas Zorbach misses out on the championship, he is 9th, Samet Oskan 10th, Alex Broster with damage at the end in 11th, and you can do the rest.
Joseph Frederic Suto finishes in 12th, with Santino Andreoli in 13th, Ruslan Proxiu finishes in 14th, with Hento Tananome in 15th, Bernardo de Oliveira in 16th, Aji Prazan is in 17th, with Agatina Bavona in 18th position, and the retirements being Joao Pedro Kirby. Unfortunately, it's cut off there, I'm afraid, the rest of the retirements. But I think it was Fonchanat Chow China, Adam Chobart, and Jake Tilsley. They were the other retirements. I do remember that. So, and of course,
Yeah,
the
I
fastest
remember
lap
that
was
as well.
and of course, the fastest lap was Alexander Arnold. For anybody wondering the lap time, it was a 1 minute 14.823. So at the moment, it's the lap record, but I would imagine that's going to get beaten tomorrow by the top class.
Yeah, I guess there's no point updating it on the wiki then, hey? But nevertheless, what a story for Kulisevich, as said in the chat. 2 seasons ago, he finished dead last, now he's won it all.
Yep, indeed. But we might as well listen to the national anthems then.
Yeah, Jamaica's. Alright, thank you guys. And interesting fact, by the way, we have our second Czech champion of the season, and I have only one reaction to that.
Yep, very appropriate that was. But
Thank you.
before we leave, we might as well ask who was the driver of the day.
Of course, I'm going to go for the man who dominated this race, Jafari.
Okay, you're going with Blackwood.
Yeah.
I am going to go with... you know what? Same here, Blackwood. It was just a totally commanding race for him from pole to finish.
Not even the champion could stop him.
Not sure what Flo's
What do you think?
Same. Blackfoot.
He's gone
3-0 then.
Indeed. Well, that is it for the 2022 Formula 2 season.
Yep, indeed. We'll see you again next season with a new host of drivers and maybe some new tracks as well. Who knows? Depends what you guys vote for. And I beg you, please don't vote for Manicure ever. Thank you very much. That was a season. Yep. And we'll see you again for the next one.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Well, bye-bye indeed. Keep an eye on in 2 weeks for the 2023 Formula 2 lineups. Bye-bye.